Over here, stranger. I got something that might interest you. Welcome to welcome to another Jail Tactics Devlog. Okay. No time to mess around this episode. Boy, do I have some mental gymnastics to cover. But first, huge news. I got my Steam page up and going for my game. Settled on Wasteland Wardens for the name, and you can wishlist it now. Wishlisting a game is the single most important thing you guys can do to support me, so if this game seems even mildly interesting, or you just like my videos, add that boy to your wishlist and you'll be doing me a huge favor. Okay, what is a quaternion? This might be a question that anyone without a math background will eventually ask when jumping into game dev. They may even ask it and never really get an answer. Go through their entire game development career without having a full understanding of them, and look back on their life as a happy, wonderful, joyful time. You and I aren't so lucky. As I continue to use something I don't understand, I have an irresistible urge to know more. And for some strange reason, you're listening to me, so I'm taking you down with me. Okay, so what is a quaternion? The guy who invented them described them as a quotient of two directed lines in a three-dimensional space. And while I understand each word in that sentence, the order and overall meaning still baffles me. So, as one who only really pretends to like math and does not really fully understand it, take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. What is a quaternion? Well, it's a way to represent orientation and rotation of an object in 3D space. How does it do this? It makes a second vector and points you towards it. See this pink ball here? As I change around its position, you can see that I'm changing the orientation of the sphere. But wait, you may say. When I try to instantiate a quaternion, it asks for 4 values. WTF, mate? Well, that's because there is a fourth piece of information. That's right, folks. We're going into the 4th dimension. The 4th value, represented as W, stores the rotation. So if I change this value, you can see the sphere rotating. With this rotation value, a vector, and another vector that is the object's origin, Unity can calculate and store a quaternion. Now this method is very fast, easy to interpolate for things like slurp, and is not susceptible to breaking by means of something called a gimbal lock. Something that it does not have any of these benefits is the Euler Angles. The advantage of the Euler Angles, however, is that humans can understand them. So when we are in code, it is much easier and recommended to use Euler. When you instantiate Euler, it asks for the values of a vector. But don't be fooled, these values are actually angles. Turning a sphere 3 times can also orient it into any position, and you don't have to worry about the equation that involves 4 dimensions and actually has 2 opposing quaternions in its equation and takes a math degree to fully understand. By the way, if you want to hear an interactive lecture or just want to mess around with this quaternion visualizer, I'll have a link in the description below. Now, with that primer, you can begin to appreciate the work I put into the camera movement in my game. It all started innocent enough, just making a camera follow the player. Pretty easy, there's 100 tutorials on this. It was when I wanted to make the battle look cool that I had to get my number 2 pencils out. In some of my older dev updates, you can see the movements I was working on, and to be honest, they are not that much different than they are now. They all involve movement and also new orientations to rotate to. How I accomplished this was for both position and orientation, I had a goal, a speed, and a count. And for every camera movement, I would adjust these variables and do a lerp inside of the update statement. Later, I would learn and recommend to all of you that you don't do these kinds of calculations in the update. Just start a coroutine with a loop in it, and then you can do your slurp or lerp, or any of the other math equations that make mathematicians sound like a bunch of drunks. So I had spent a ton of time making functions for all the various camera movements, but when I wanted the camera to smoothly follow the different characters around the battlefield, I started planning out that addition and thinking of just how much work it would actually be for me to write. So I decided to do my signature move. This is when I stumbled across Cinemachines. Everyone was ranting and raving about it, so I decided to, and yes, I realized that this is probably way more work, but reformat all of this camera code to use Cinemachines virtual camera positions instead. So now you just place a virtual camera somewhere, and this library handles the transition between the two cameras for you. It also comes with a slew of other features out of the box, like smooth camera follow. Honestly, I don't think it has saved me that much time yet, since reformatting this probably took more time than writing smooth camera myself would have taken. But it was an investment into my future, as I imagine my camera movements will never stop being tweaked and added to. As much as I could do a much deeper dive into the differences between Cinemachines and the regular cameras in Unity, there were a few more things I wanted to do in this video, so feel free to ask if you're interested in the comments below. But now it's time for Quick Tips with Chillin'. So the quick tip for this video is the name variable. Now for most of you, I'm sure that this is a known quantity, but it is incredibly helpful. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows about it. So imagine you throw a script on an object that will be instantiated many times, but you ain't no Unity testing nerd, so that bad boy is riddled with bugs. If you call to debug from this script, then every object in your scene with that script will start writing to your console. A solution to this, assuming that you have unique names for everything, is the name variable. You actually have access to this variable from anything that is attached to an object, so it is as simple as writing name, or if you're in the child of an object, transform.parent.name, to know which object is the writer. You can even put an if statement in there if you only want a certain object to spam your console. Okay, time for a new segment of my devlogs. And yes, I know that 6-minute videos are becoming more of a pipe dream if I keep adding segments, but I just have to start doing a community spotlight. There are so many great people out there that are supporting others' work, and I fell in love with the sense of community we have going on. So today I'm featuring Stupid Game Experiments. Axel Cannon is a game dev that has always got some sort of interesting or funny project on the go. From Souls-like Jenga games to ball-dodging games he plans on making on multiple engines. But the best is his Follow Friday videos, where he showcased unknown devs for you to go check out. And that's not a coincidence. He was the inspiration for the spotlight segment of my vids. So if you want to dive deeper into this cool little community, then go check out his videos so you can convert that YouTube feed of yours. Well, that's all I got for you this time. Like, subscribe, tell me how easy it is for you to conceptualize the fourth dimension in the comments below, and don't forget to wishlist Wasteland Warden. I'll see you all next time.